Okay, it should be working. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning. Welcome to day 2 of the DIPMF parallel session, held under the theme of Bridging Communities. The DIPMF 2026 is the most celebrated regional and global event, focused on promoting the role of exceptional project management and delivering projects that increases the quality of life and makes a difference at the society and nation level. The DIPMF highlights international best practice in strategy, innovation, and management in transforming the way projects create a long-lasting, sustainable impact in our society. For the next 90 minutes, we will hear from those that are dedicated to digital transformation, where each of our 3 speakers will speak for 30 minutes, and we will allow some extra time for some questions and answers. Now, we want to welcome our first speaker, Oscar, who is a senior project manager at PMI Infinity with over 15 years of experience leading projects over $100 million in value. He authored the United Nations Sustainable Energy for All in 2012, along with subject matter experts in international energy projects. Oscar is particularly have expertise in driving government and public sector projects as diverse as the G7 Embassy, along with the most recent project, which was the Parliament of Canada. As the youngest graduate of the University of Oxford's master degree in major program management, Oscar contributed to cutting-edge approaches in international program management with Nobel Prize-winning economists, executive practitioners, and experts from around the world. He is a PMI certified project management professional and holds 2 professional engineering licenses in Canada. His work was featured in the Financial Times, Economist, the New York Times, and other publications. Oscar, over to you. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. How are you? It's nice to see you out today, and we're going to focus in very quickly on success cases. Okay? So, a lot of us have worked in various projects, and a lot of us have failed in various projects, and sometimes success can seem random in these projects, especially multi-year $100 million plus projects. So, over the next 30 minutes, I would like to dilute and extract all the successes we've seen from about 1,000 project professionals across several clients we've helped with AI solutions, and just tell you exactly what led to their success commonly, okay? So that you can skip ahead of the line and get to that with your own work. All right, so today I represent Oxford University, as well as the Project Management Institute, but we also run a company of about 160 people doing management consultancy for data centers in Parliament, which is our version of the White House. All right, well, welcome in, thank you. I'm honored that you're here. So, in terms of what does success look like in an AI initiative, right? I'd like to ask, how did the best manage to do these 3 things? Okay? Accelerate the time of their delivery, unlock the value in their data, and we're going to get into the practical aspects of this, and how do they predict near future events? Right? These are all AI promises, but how do we do that and achieve it consistently? So in terms of accelerating time, right, every manager expects this from us and our teams. It's difficult to do, and oftentimes what we see is in AI initiatives, it actually slows things down. It's a paradox, and I'm going to show you some solutions against that. We often see more work, more time, more overtime, more resources needed when we were supposed to make things more efficient. Right? It's counterfactual. In terms of unlocking data value, each of you have tremendous value in your data sets. Right? And it's usually just sitting in spreadsheets, emails, PDFs, reports, etc. To get that value takes a few concrete steps that I'm going to guide you through. And we see this over and over the success cases. It's not a simple approach. And then predicting the near future. Right? If we could tell what the next dominoes are to fall, right? What the next consequences will be and how much, we could start talking about governance and sit in our executive meetings with confidence with what's about to happen. All right, So, success cases and some winning formulas. This is what I'm suggesting here. We're going to start with the Dubai Health Authority, okay, right here close to home. So in this instance, we had a group in 2018, before LLMs were popular, before this took off, okay, before it was cool and interesting. The Dubai Health Authority, in their wisdom at the time, decided to make their eye scans more efficient. Retinal eye scans were currently taking 4 days to process. What if we could take that down to 2 or 3 minutes per patient? You could get your results before you leave the door. Think of how many people could be impacted positively by that, right? So it was a huge vision at the time, because back in 2018 it was not clear what AI even means, how to begin, how to implement. We're going to go into case 2 also, which is the Hong Kong Development Bureau partnered with Oxford University. This group had over budget, over time. They managed about just under $1 trillion of construction. Hong Kong is running out of land, so it is extremely difficult to build there. And we used, back in 2019, deep learning, again, before it was interesting, to help them predict and get into the board meetings in terms of governance systems. And I'll show you exactly what we did and what their reports look like afterwards. The third case is going to be the Project Management Institute and how they developed out an AI tool for millions of users in less than a year. Okay. It was quite an accomplishment, and I just gave a master class earlier this week. Some of you joined me again. Welcome back. A master class with the developer of that tool, the machine learning expert. So in other words, how do we develop out a tool for that many users that quickly? What are some success cases? What are some failure modes that we can skip? And then lastly, I'll summarize with the actual success formula. All right. So where can we find this value, right? We're all talking about AI unlocking value, speed, etc. Where does this exist? Okay. It's easier to say than to do. So we know some facts to start with. The IDC has estimated almost all of your stored data in projects is unstructured, which is a disaster for AI initiatives. Okay? It's very difficult to work with unstructured data. However, there's ways around this. What I mean by unstructured would be, again, emails, PDFs, all kinds of Excel sheets, tabs, spreadsheets, right? Different columns all over the place. Okay? So it'll give you a hint about where we're going with this. Secondly, we know data is an asset class. Okay? Just like any commodity, gold, etc., it has tremendous value. Estimated at $300 billion a few years ago, and it's been increasing ever since. So just that data, just the emails, just the transaction data, has value in terms of dollar cents. We want to unlock some of this. So in terms of unlocking it, how do we do that? Okay. So I belabored the point enough. Let's get to case 1. So healthcare AI predictions to save lives, possibly the most important impact that AI can have. So we had retinal ophthalmology eye scans, okay, to basically scan your retina and determine just from the vein structure whether there was risk of diabetes and other disease. Normally this took 4 days, and it took several people looking through the images and figuring it out. The Dubai Health Authority took that down to 4 minutes, which is a 99.9% reduction in time, and it was still 95% accurate, which was actually higher than the average doctor could do. How's this possible? And this was years ago, 7 years ago, right? Let's take a look at the approach they took. Okay. So first of all, they structured their data. Okay. When you have eye scans, X-rays, cancer screenings, things like that, each scanned image has to be tagged by a person, manually tagged. And I promise we'll get to project-specific things. But if you're dealing with reports, charters, management templates, the unfortunate reality is we can't skip the tagging. Okay? Manual tagging is a big industry. OpenAI just bought Scale AI for $4 billion. All that company does is tag data. Okay? It's a big deal. So in terms of this, we had eye scans, and we had doctors and professionals and experts tag each scan saying this is concerning, this is healthy, etc. And it took a lot of time. But they started with 3,000 images. We're not talking millions. So yes, it might have taken a month or two, but it was worth it. This is what we mean by structuring your data. Each image was in exactly the same format. Okay, same size, pixels, tagging, metadata, timestamp, etc. Now, the output was also reviewed by human experts. Okay, this is crucial. We often miss this part. You input the data, you train a model, you release it. No. I'm going to suggest you need to have that human expert at the end. I'm going to revisit this later. But for now, let's say we have the doctors and the surgeons looking at those results, even though it's from AI, right? So structuring your data, right? To conclude this last part here, if you're reviewing by a doctor or a surgeon, right? Why is that important? We could very much email results to patients, okay, in 4 minutes, or just give it to them and hand it over. What's the problem with that? Right? The problem is people can't interpret that kind of data. You might give them misleading data, right? So we still need that expert there to make that judgment call. Okay, similarly with projects. So, lesson learned 1, structure your data, strategies accordingly, map out your workflow, take your document from the beginning to approval, from draft to final charter, right? That transaction from the vendor all the way to the build. Whatever it is, trace it out, okay, like an organizational chart. Treat your data like a living thing and try to see where it moves. This is going to be crucial. Next, we're going to normalize that data. So normalizing, what I mean is you're going to have outliers. You're going to have things in a project set where we started, for example, with the Hong Kong Authority. We had $100 million projects taking up most of the projects. Some of them were $1 billion plus, some of them were 10 million or less. How do you deal with that kind of difference? Right? You need buckets. You need to categorize them in buckets. Similarly with the eye scans, you need healthy bucket, unhealthy, etc. Okay? So we're going to have to normalize that data. This is a lot of work, yes, but it's important before we get any AI solution off the ground. We need a consistent format. Okay? So again, like with the scans, exactly same shape, size, etc. If it's an email, I'm sorry if you deal with emails, but you're going to need some kind of reporting format that's consistent. Okay? So whether that's table, that's always the same, paragraphs that are always the same, what have you. And then lastly, you're going to want to think in databases. Okay, so a lot of us deal with spreadsheets, two-dimensional tables, yeah, multiple tabs. Again, that is not good feed work into AI. We need to think in terms of a database. What is the difference? Okay, if you're dealing with a project with time, scope, budget, it could be affected by weather, government, regulations, vendor availability, time of year, things like that. That's a multi-dimensional problem. Okay? It's not a 2D table. You can't capture that in 2 dimensions. You need multi-dimensional data. How do you deal with multi-dimensional factors and variables? You need a database approach. Okay? You need several tables that are linked together by keys, and we need to get to that sort of understanding before we can get to AI again. So structure your data in various ways. Lesson learned 2. This is probably the most important one. Okay? Because we're dealing with people after all. And people are scared. Why would I help an AI initiative that might make me lose my job? That might make me obsolete? Why would I do this? Why would I help you? What's in it for me? The golden ticket, the best solution I have to give you here is to ensure human in the loop. Actually, you will be the human in the loop for this process. You're the expert reviewing the end results. Oh, okay, so I'm established now, and I'll have more time to do what I need, and this is just going to be a tool to help me out. So ensure human in the loop. In the Dubai Health Authority, for example, the experts checked results for accuracy, okay, as we would expect. We got buy-in from the team. Like I mentioned, why would I help you if I'm just going to make myself obsolete? Well, if you're human in the loop, that's much more useful. And it's a good selling point. Accountability. We often lose accountability with an AI agent that goes out. Who's responsible for those decisions? What if the eye scans were wrong, right? What if we send people or miss a disease? Who's accountable? It should be that last expert that reviewed. Okay? It's not the developers. All right, case 2, Oxford and Hong Kong governance. So as you can see, Hong Kong doesn't have much land left to build on. And they still need to build. So it's quite a difficult project management situation. What we did, those white lines over here, these are 849 project histories from start to finish, okay? And they follow a cash flow curve, okay? So starting a project here, this is the schedule, 0 to basically 100%, and then cash output, okay? So as we go through 849 project histories, they had saved these, we could start training models based on what is a good project, what is a deviated project. Again, structure your data first. If you don't have this data at all, we can't even start, okay? We need to get this data. So how do we train a model on data? How do we do this, right? I mentioned we had done this in 2019 before anything was available or easy to do. And what results can we expect? And what are the impacts on our executive teams? How will they receive this? Okay. So how do we train a model? Before you start, think of governance, okay? So, like I showed here, this is project history. What is a good project and what is a bad one in this 849 data set? This is what you have to decide as experts. What are your green zones and what are your red zones? And it can't just be one thing. It has to be a range, right? So we see here, the green zone is a well-running project. At any day in this 54 months, I can tell you exactly where your project is and where you're forecasted to be. If you're in the green zone, yellow zone is caution, red zone is going directly to executive management, okay? That same day escalating, okay? Because there's something off. When we saw projects sitting here, it became extremely difficult to bring them back on track. All right, so lesson learned number 3. We're going to embrace failure to excel in governance. Okay, what do I mean by that? Know your red and green zones is what I mean. So the fact that you had failed projects was important. It was important to use that, okay? Not delete it, not ignore it. We need that information as well. So don't just feed your AI model the best of the best. We need to see the red zones, okay? Otherwise, we're working blindly. Train a model on your past data. That is the best predictor of your future performance. And yes, we can change it slightly. We can improve it slightly. But it's probably going to do very similar performance to your past. Look at that workflow. We right now deal with data. That's fine. You have your emails, your spreadsheets, your reports, whatever. That's great. How does that lead into your decisions? And how does that then lead into the results that you're expecting, the outcomes, right? What we saw with this situation with the red and green zones is that expert I showed you, that excerpt, that was actually used in board meetings for the Hong Kong Development Authority. And each project would have a red-green indicator with a dot on it. And executives could quickly see the status of every project. Everyone understands traffic lights. Yeah, it was easy for executives to read. Red, green, yellow. And it was quick. This led to proper decisions, which then led to proper outcomes. So what we can call that is a governance intelligence, right? Executing, steering intelligently and properly, instead of just going by feel or going by missing data. Okay. Now you can start predicting. All right, now case 3. Project management for millions of people. How do you prepare a digital project like PMI Infinity for millions of users? We have a history here from PMI. October 2023 is when they started, and they launched. Key here, okay? 300 volunteers to start with. Do not roll out to every user from day one. Start with volunteers. Get their feedback. 2 months later, okay? Basically, you had a global launch to, again, a few volunteers in the community. The next month, you finally had a rollout. Why is that important? We're getting feedback from these volunteers, okay? We're figuring out what doesn't work. It can be as simple as where is the button, or it can be as complicated as that's not relevant to me. Risk management plan is more important. Again, several months later, we had PMI Infinity 2.0. Look at that scale. Look at that speed of improvement. Okay? And then we had foundational updates to give you personalization. And if you're a PMI member, you're able to access this tool for free. So you can build out your charters, etc., in a secure environment. And then we're finally at PMI 3.0. That's a tremendous speed for a group like this. What did they have to do? They had to start thinking like a software startup. Okay? So iterate quickly, get a bunch of experimentation with their users, again, embracing that failure. They were not a software group, and they still are not. Okay? So it was a difficult change. But it established a new opportunity for them. Okay? And now they've evolved Infinity to the point where there are several tens of thousands of users every month. Okay. So lesson learned 4 here is you want to pilot a rollout with very consistent iterative user feedback. Okay, what do I mean by that? Roll it out to a few users, get their feedback constantly, whatever it is. This is terrible, this is great, I love this part I don't need. All of that is crucial. My group, for example, created a software enterprise solution for PMI as well. We took a month to do that. Okay? Normally, this sort of thing would come out to several $1 million and 16 months or so of work. And our team did this in about 6 weeks, and we did it pro bono for free. So it is possible to do this now. You have exceptional tools at your disposal with AI. But you need to know that client feedback. That's never going to change. Okay? That sale, that client relationship. It doesn't matter what technology we use, pen, paper, AI, you need that feedback. Don't work in a vacuum. Okay? Test features in the real world. Test them in the actual workflow. Use canarying. This is a concept borrowed from Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon. Canarying just means, let's say if I have 100 workflows and I'm trying to make an AI tool for these workflows, I'm going to use the AI tool for 2 of them, 2%. Okay? So that way I don't damage the entire organization if things go wrong, but I learn also from a real workflow. Okay? Canarying meaning canary in the coal mine, so you can quickly see what's not working. The paradox that we deal with rollouts is you have to roll out quickly, but you can't roll out to real people, real users. Okay? You can only roll out to champions, volunteers, etc. It's difficult to deal with this. We want to roll out to the actual users quickly, but you do need to use pilots. Okay? We don't see successes in these initiatives without pilots first. Okay? What I mean by a pilot is 4 to 6 users usually at the beginning, and things can fail and things can change quickly. Don't roll out to everyone at once. Okay? I'm not sure if anyone here is from CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is an example where you roll out for everyone all at the same time. Don't do that. Okay? Okay. So some key takeaways. I mentioned a success formula. If you remember nothing else, okay? Remember C. We want to structure our data, ensure a human in the loop, and embrace failure. Okay? Embracing failure, the most difficult one to do. And what we can hope to achieve from structuring your data is unlocking those dollars in your data. And what we can ensure from ensuring that human in the loop, regulation, compliance, of course, legal conditions. However, your near future predictions will be even better because now you have people assigned to making your AI tool even better, and they want it to succeed. Okay? And you have accountability built in. So you don't just say, oh, the tool just made a mistake, I'm not sure why. You're going to have experts who help you make it better every day. Don't forget the human side of these tools. Okay? I mentioned yesterday, project management is not going away. I also believe that. Just like people will not be going away with this expertise. We want them integrated with these workflows, not replaced. And embracing failure to excel. If you embrace that failure and actually take your red zones in willingly with a smile, okay, and learn from them, you're going to save a lot of time, is what we see across these 1,000 instances that we studied, right? Groups that refused or deleted the failure points, they took on average twice as long to get to the same end goal. So with that, I'd like to ask you if you have any questions, and I'm honored that you came here to listen, and I'm very happy to chat. Thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? Anyone at all? Yeah? Think we're good for time? Yes, please. There's a microphone there.
You mentioned that you will give us some hints about how to collect information from Excel or gather it in the data. There is any software, anything can help us?
Yes, luckily for you, great question. So all the free LLM tools, all the free AI tools you have right now, which is Copilot, your GPTs, your Geminis, whatever you use, they have an understanding of every software in the world right now. Every button, how to connect and link different pieces of software. So if you wanted to take Excel and convert that into a database relationship management structure, you can hire someone for about $400,000 a year, or you can use Copilot, GPT to say, this is my data, it's unstructured, how do I convert this into a database? And we've actually had a lot of success with just doing that from free AI tools. Yeah, when it used to take several teams of people to do that. So just describe it in plain language and just ask to change that into a database structure. That's the best advice I have to you. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Anyone else? Yes, over here. Yeah.
Yeah. As you said, the data to change in a structured way to use some tools. But how is the quality of data? Because otherwise garbage in and the garbage out it will.
Right.
So how the quality will be
Yeah, great
maintained?
question. So I mentioned at the beginning, structuring your data has to do with manual tagging too. And manual tagging, unfortunately, is just someone going through the data and finding the anomalies, deleting them, restructuring them. To start, when you're training a new model, you can't get around that, right? So a question I asked in my master class, for example, was how many people do you think are involved, paid to develop a new AI tool, for example, ChatGPT going from 5.1 to 5.2? How many people do you think are involved in something like that, right? If you had to guess, 1,000, 500, 20, it's 2.6 million people are on the payroll, right? And 99.9959% of that people are doing data tagging. 2.6 million people on the payroll, okay? And what they're doing is they're looking at responses and they're looking at data and they're saying yes, no, good, bad, or editing it. It's a lot of work and we can't escape it. It's a great question, but it's the unfortunate reality of AI models is it's going to take a little bit more work before you get those results. Yes. Anyone else? Please. I think lady over here was first. Yeah.
When you're looking at structuring the data, how do you remain integral to the security of the data?
Yeah. So security, I'm assuming that the person structuring the data has the security clearance and is using platforms that are secure. So it's a great question though, because when we start dealing with other software and we have security aspects, that's quite difficult and it's custom for each group, right? The best way I've seen it done is frankly deleting the sensitive information and replacing it with an index. So for example, I work in secure infrastructure, data centers for government, Secret Service, etc. And we have a lot of sensitive data. But we also need to train that data. So for example, my name's Oscar. I'll appear in the document several times. There will be an index document that says Oscar equals B7, okay? And it will replace every instance of my name with B7 throughout the document. So even if that leaks out, no one knows what that means unless you have that translating document. And that translating document, that index, we call it a cipher, that lives in a secure environment. And only a few people with a need-to-know basis can see that. So even if it leaked to the whole world, you would see a bunch of B7, C6, and not sure what that means. Yeah, that's the best in class I would like to share with you. Great question. Yeah. Yeah, there's several methods. Yeah, but you would probably want to do it in person though, by a person. A gentleman over here.
Hi, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
I want to ask specifically about PMI Infinity. Is there a certain way that we can talk to AI to get the specific or tailored result to the project, for example, I'm working with? I mean, is there a sort of prompt or something, a tips, let's say?
Yeah, great. You guys are really good at extracting value here. You're like, you want your bang for your buck here. Excellent question. So in the master class we did, which I highly recommend taking, we offer these around the world. But the summary for prompting that I can give you in 30 seconds, forget everything you know about Google search. Okay? So with Google, you put in 4 or 5 words, and you expect tons of data out. This is the complete opposite. You need to put in paragraphs and paragraphs of prompts. Okay? Don't say, help me make a risk management plan. Put in, I am a PM, a senior PM, leading a PMO, 40 people, this much experience, this is my industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And keep going with the common sense and assumptions. And I want that to look like a 3 or 4 paragraph prompt before you hit send. Okay? When we work with our developers, whether it was Infinity or my own software team, our prompts can look like an essay before we hit send. Right? They can be extremely long with a lot of data, and they're over and over like that. So forget everything you know about the Google search. Those days are kind of changed now, and add as much prompting as you can. Great question. Anyone else over here? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm really looking forward to the next talk, actually. Thank you. Yeah. Hello.
Thank you, Oscar. I actually use ChatGPT to structure my data daily when I'm working. So that was actually very beneficial. I'll definitely try Copilot next time. Thank you again. I'd like now to welcome our second speaker for the Digital Transformation Parallel Session, Ariadna Grob-Pereiro, who's a senior project manager at Microsoft UK and the vice president of PMI UK. Ariadna is an international expert in project and program management with over 25 years of global experience leading high-impact initiatives in artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and governance. At Microsoft UK, she delivers a strategic program focused on operational safety, compliance, and AI-driven innovations. She's also a driving force in refining the emerging technologies that are shaping the future of product leadership and AI-led national and international programs, including those supported by international monetary funds across Brazil, Portugal, and the United Kingdoms. Please welcome me in welcoming Arianda. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. I like this session. Oh, it's quite loud, the microphone. I like the morning session because I know we have an energy to start the day. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I would like to start. We are talking today about the new frontier leadership. So let me start with one question. What if everything you know about leadership became obsolete? I would like to ask you guys to think about this question because we are talking about this during this presentation today. It's a very important question. So we are entering in the most transformative era in the history of project and program management. I can tell you today over half of the global projects already include some kind of AI. Organizations using AI in portfolio program and project management are delivering around about 20% faster. And yet, more than 70% of leaders say they do not feel like prepared to lead in this environment. So this is not a technology gap, it's a leadership gap. I would like to share briefly something from my colleague, from a very interesting book from my colleague Mustafa Suleiman, CEO of Microsoft AI, where he's highlighted, the name of the book is The New Wave. And he's highlighted that AI is no longer just a tool. So a piece of what he's saying is, like, these systems are dynamic, deeply integrated, and increasingly capable, which means the responsibility of leadership is clear: to keep human agents at the center, to set boundaries, and choose consciously what we build and also what we refuse to build. So progress will not come from stepping back from technology. It will come directly with judgment, with empathy, and with courage. And yet, most leaders used to say, and saying now, they are not prepared. So this is the leadership gap of our time. Sorry, I think we have a problem with this slide. Just give me a moment. I think this is not the... Okay, let's go back here. I would just move to the next. I was going to propose one interaction exercise. Why they changed the slide? Because it's not the updated version. Apologize about that. I would like to say that transformation begins with connection. Everyone agree that transformation begins with connection, with people? Transformation begins with people, doesn't begin with machines. So before we go any further, I would like to invite you. So we are starting in the morning, so I would like to propose a very brief moment of reflection and connection as well. I will provoke you with a question. And if you can please, first, let's take a deep breath. Everybody, just, and please, turn on to someone near you, someone that's near to you. Introduce yourself, kindly introduce yourself, and share what is one transformation happening in your world, in your life now. I'm sure everyone has a transformation happening in your life. So please, if you can, please, I will give you 1 minute for this exercise. Let me check it.
She's going to do it.
She's going to replace?
She said that this is the last and most updated one. This is
Oh, I have. Sorry. Thanks, Ben. When you finish sharing, please swap to here. It's gone. Hello? Hello, we come back. Yeah, we had a moment of relaxing and reflection. How was the discussion? If someone doesn't have transformation happening in their lives now, how's it, who is not having transformation now? Everybody has some transformation happening. This is great. It's the purpose of life. Okay, I'm very glad now we have our version. So, let's see. Yeah, this is what we was talking about when I shared a very brief part of the Mustafa Suleiman book about AI. I can share the name of the book if you guys would like to read. And we just finished our transformation begin with connection exercise. So now I would like to talk a little bit about the shift. AI and digital ecosystems used to accelerate change faster than any methodology ever imagined. So we can say that the world changed faster than our methods, any methods we had. So AI increased velocity and leadership must provide direction. Before, we had traditional project management, portfolio manager, and program manager. And now we have AI as acceleration. I would like to give you some example of change, of transformation, of the shift, a little bit similar of what we was talking right now. It's one example about the shift. I needed courage. Normally we need courage, but I needed courage for my shift. I made a decision that changed my life and how I understand leadership in 2005. You guys will think I'm old. In 2005, I moved to Africa at the invitation of the International Monetary Fund, the company I worked for a long time, and was to lead a national anti-corruption program for the government in Mozambique. That program was inspired from a similar program I lead in Brazil before. We create one great business model for financial system, and we use that same business model, similar, to create one anti-corruption system, financial system for Africa. My mission was to build a complete financial system and restore the confidence of the culture. They was just passing for the civil war and so many other issues. So in the time I was there, I lived so many things. It was a huge cultural and life experience, you know. But I also lived like one earthquake. I saw the impact of the war in the eye of the people there. And I had, besides leading that program, I had a greater purpose. So I was volunteering, camping in remote tribes in my free time to help children, to help care children where many children dying of malnutrition. So why I'm telling all of this? I would like to compare, because in those moments of my life, no technology helped me, you know, to save those lives. I know we can have many ways, we can use many ways to help through technology, but at that moment, not. So what mattered was presence, food, and empathy. So that experience shaped, I believe, I'm still carried today. Technology is extraordinary when it walks alongside a deep human leader, a deeply human leader. So technology alone is never enough. We are talking about this today. That's why we are talking about the new leadership frontier. Let's move on to talk a little bit about what AI really changes. We could talk today about how productive we've become with AI. I used to do this every day, demos and share many ways to be productive, to be more, to do the things faster. So I used to present complex demos on this to my customers and my teams in Microsoft every day. But today, we are talking about something deeply. Yeah, as a new leadership frontier, I think everyone here used to summarize meetings in seconds, used to anticipate risks sooner, and plan, forecasting, model faster than ever before. But yeah, AI has increased our speed. But what really changed? So leaders remain responsible for the why. We still responsible for the why and for the human consequence. So AI is reshaping how we work, but not why we lead. That's the truth. I'm going to share very quickly this video. It's a very exclusive video I created for us today, just to have an idea of our new leadership frontier.
Artificial intelligence will not replace leaders, but it will redefine the boundary between decision and accountability. Life evolved through adaptation, sensing, learning, responding. Today, we have built systems that also learn, not by understanding the world as we do, but by compressing patterns from data at scale. We move from rule-based software to probabilistic models, from narrow machine learning to foundation models, from chatbots to multimodal systems, from answers to agents that plan, execute, and trigger actions across workflows. AI can synthesize knowledge across millions of documents in seconds. AI can generate options, simulations, forecasts, and content at industrial speed. AI can optimize decisions and still be confidently wrong. Because AI does not carry intent, context, or moral responsibility. Only humans can define acceptable risk. Only humans can judge fairness when harm is uneven. Only humans can be accountable when trust is broken. That is the new leadership frontier, leading in environments where decisions are probabilistic, speed is amplified, and impact is human. It means governing models, not just adopting tools. Designing evaluation and monitoring, not just demos. Owning data lineage, security, and drift. Setting escalation paths and human in the loop where stakes are high. And building cultures where people are empowered to challenge outputs, not obey them. So the question is no longer, can we deploy AI? It is, where should we, under what boundaries, and who owns the consequences? This is frontier leadership, making responsibility scale as fast as intelligence.
Okay. I love this picture of Dubai. Okay. Considering this short video, I would like to talk about what AI transformation feels like for all of us. So, until now we've talking about speed, capacity, acceleration. Transformation isn't just technical. What we are trying to discuss here is it's profoundly human. So AI arrived with speed, at scale, with power, And AI doesn't ask us who we are. It reveals us. And we also talk a lot about decision making in leadership. I think in a presentation of Oscar as well. But we avoid talking about the real cost of decisions. That's the truth. What is the real cost of decisions? I learned this in a very unexpected way, and I will share very quickly. I learned this from my daughter. My daughter has like a mild in spectrum of autism, but I used to say she's my mini genius. She has an extraordinary mind, and she's completely passionate about books. One day we were in a bookstore, and she came back with her arms completely full of books. And when I asked her, I asked her to choose one or two and return the others. And she disappeared among the shelves. And yes, and when she returned, she has her hands empty, no more books. And I asked why. And she said, if I choose one, I will lose the others. So that moment stayed with me because it revealed something very uncomfortable about leadership. It's a lesson learned. We need to use our lessons in our professional as well. I used to do that. So I've been in Columbia University in New York last month with an amazing professor. He was talking about that as well. If you haven't lost something, you haven't decided. Every real decision involves loss. And that's exactly why decision seems so heavy. But AI doesn't eliminate the weight of decision making. It just focuses it. Don't know if we have time. We have a time. I will invite you to scan this QR code just for us to have some perspective about your idea. So we have 3 questions there. And after you scan the QR code, please try to answer honestly. There is no wrong or right answer. Just try to answer. And then I think Ben can show us. You still scanning? I think Ben can show the answers for us. Okay. Okay. It's just to give us a perspective. Good. Good. Decision accountability. I like that. We can move to the next one, Ben. Do we have answers for this one? Do you need the QR code again? Oh, they're asking to scan again. Okay, there we go. We can move to the next one? All right. Responsibility. Yeah. You know, we have been working in the global, just talking about responsible AI. Our AI standards of PMI, we just launched, and it will be available, so the global AI standard. Just to let you guys know. using this opportunity about responsibility. There is so many good stuff there about responsibility. I think we can go to the next one, Ben. You guys need the QR code again? No. No, we can go straight to the next question. So, about the pressure, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Governing risk, okay. Decisions again. All right. So, I think we can keep moving. Thank you so much, Ben. You can go back to the slides, because now I will just talk a little bit about how AI elevates project, program, and portfolio management. Who works with portfolio here in the level of portfolio? Great. Great. Thank you. Portfolio as well. Cool. We can go back to the slides, Ben. Really? Okay, cool. So what we see until now, and it's everyone aware, it's that AI is not replacing project, program, or portfolio leaders. I know, but I think AI, it's elevating them. It's elevating us. So I think AI gives us program, project, and portfolio manager leaders a new superpower. We have a new superpower. We are seeing the role system in motion. We can see, I think AI gives us the visibility across the entire system. So we are shaping decisions, we are shaping transformations, we are forecasting at scale, system awareness, adaptive orchestration, and alignment of results. But leadership is still responsible for many. That's the change from delivery functions to leadership intelligence. The new leadership frontier, I was trying to create a set of human capabilities, because we have many human capabilities, but I select a set of human capabilities in the age of AI to share to discuss and share, to talk today with you guys. So the first one is resilience. Resilience redefines intelligence. The future belongs to human-centered leaders. So this is the new leadership frontier for us. AI scales insight, but human leadership sustains impact. Failure is not a flaw in the system. It's how evolution works. Resilience actually is intelligence in action. The capacity we have to learn, the capacity we have to unlearn, to reinvent ourselves, without losing the direction. AI also reduced the operational business. So leadership today is no longer measured by output. It's measured by outcomes that truly matter. The second one is with one, it's quite polemic, but I love, it's fail. Fail. Yes, fail is one of this set of capabilities. Fail fast, learn faster, and lead wiser. I will provoke you again, asking you, if you knew you were 30 failures away from achieving what you truly want, what would you do? 30 fails. You just need 30 fails. Would you stop at one? or would you rise 30 times stronger? Because many people think failure is a weakness. But in real leadership, failure is often courage. Is staying accountable when outcome is uncomfortable. Because transformation, real transformation, begins not in algorithm or technology, but in us. So if machine learning can learn from the third failed attempts to succeed on the 31st, why shouldn't we? We can do that as well. Machines like iterate and leaders reflect. Just moving to the next one, it's courage. I love to talk about courage. For me, courage is the first step of the real transformation. AI will reveal things that we always want to see, don't want to see actually, like bias, fragility. Not to expose us, but to refine us. Courage leadership is not loud, it's composed. It's a voice that says, I will take responsibility even when the path is unclear. In this new leadership frontier, resilience is not dogness, it's learning velocity with ethical, with clarity. There is a phrase from Nelson Mandela, which I really like, and he says that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph of it. And AI leadership for me is exactly that. No fearless, just accountable. Let's move into the last one, which is empathy. In the age of AI, the most valuable skills in the ability to truly understand another human being is empathy. Empathy actually is often misunderstood as softness. In reality, empathy is precision. AI gives us data, and empathy gives us meaning. Across cultures, I've been working the past 25 years in many cultures and teams and technologies. Empathy becomes the force that aligns humans when systems move faster than emotions. So this is something AI will never replace. And that's why in the new leadership frontier, empathy is not a soft skill. Empathy actually is a strategic accelerator. I will just move on to the key takeaways from today. We highlighted about AI accelerators execution, also transformation in human before it's a technical, resilience, redefining intelligence, courage, our capabilities, empathy as a strategic accelerator. So, in the true luxury of the AI is remaining human. A call to action for us is lead forward, lead responsibly, and lead humanly. What is one decision you will make different after today? Okay. I have prepared something to you very briefly, just for us to close this, because we did that exercise of connection when we started. So we paused it to connect with someone else, remember? Was more time than expected, but was really nice. So it was to remember that transformation begins with people. But now, before we close, I invite you to connect with something even more important, your best self as a leader. There is one phrase from a song I've carried with me for years. It says that sometimes the seed must die so it can germinate. And I really like this. I think transformation works exactly like that. So, because true leadership isn't control, it's connection. And AI will shape the tools of the future. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for having me here today. I'm very glad to be here. And if you have any question, please feel free to reach out to me. We don't have time for Q&A. So I will leave my this is my LinkedIn profile, my website. I've launched some books. So if you guys would like to know more about that, and feel free to connect. I'm open to connect, to discuss, to talk. It's really nice to meet you, everyone, today. And have a great day, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Arianda. And now we want to welcome our third speaker, Samer Dabbousi.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I tell you guys, I was raised in Canada. I'm used to the cold, but not to this. This is an Arctic blast I'm not prepared for, so I'll try to warm you up with my words and my energy. So thanks for having me here. My name is Sam Dabbousi. I am a Gen AI go-to-market strategist. I work with AWS, Amazon Web Services, and I've been working with them for 6 years, all the time based out of the US, working to scale our Gen AI, AI/ML products and expand globally. But that has changed. Starting early this January, I have relocated, and today I live in Dubai. This is probably my backyard. I live a few minutes away from this beautiful city. And I'm working with our customers here in Minat. And it's a great pleasure to be here because today, due to the leadership that we see in the market from the leadership that we see from the leaders of this country, the UAE is spearheading and one of the leaders in the AI transformation. So I'm very happy to be here and I'm very happy to be with you. What I'll talk about is how can we go beyond the hype and how can we deploy Gen AI for manufacturing? When I was working on this, the first thing that came to mind is an interview I saw with Jeff Bezos a while ago. And this interview happened early in the days when Jeff Bezos was laying the foundation for Amazon. And he was asked, frequently asked, what are the trends that you see and the changes that you see that you're going to utilize in your business strategy? And his answer to that, the question should be different. The question is, what are the things that are not going to change? And those things are the things that I'm going to really focus on to build my business strategy. Because these are the durable needs that become the foundation for long-term success. And if we have these right, we're able to move fast with the things that we cannot control. So what are the things that have changed? We can think about a lot of things. Living in the US recently, we hear a lot about tariffs. These things we can't control. We hear things about supply chain risks. We just went through COVID. We know about technology and LLMs. It's ever changing, it's fast, it's very hard to keep up with. But I can summarize for smart manufacturing, desired outcomes, there's 3 categories that are really important. It's how do we reduce variation? And we should think about how we can be as predictably boring as possible for that. How do I know when I'm producing something that I know exactly what's going to cost, what quality will come out, how much will I produce, and how much can I sell? And how can I empower my employees? I want them to make better decisions. I want them to have the right data to get the right insights. And I want to make sure that they're comfortable as much as possible to have resiliency. And how do I do that? I do that by making sure I can automate a lot of these mundane tasks that they do. That boring task that they're utilizing a lot of their power or brain power. And finally, how I do all of this at speed, now that's very important. So while I'm focusing on the key things, how, if the changes come, how can I adapt to these at speed? So technology is key, and we're going to talk a lot about it a lot. But when we talk about investment in technology, we're always talking about, the question that comes up is, what is the financial ROI for this? And it's perfectly great question to ask, and it's very important. But the question that really we need to ask ourselves is, that technology that we're choosing, does it have any marked improvement in reducing the variation, empowering my employees, and allowing me to move at the speed and the speed of the business? So, while we're spending a lot of time today talking about technology, I just want to bring it back to something that's extremely important when it comes to manufacturing business. Today, we've seen a loss of experienced personnel, and it's been affecting significantly the ability for 84% of the manufacturers to have quality, efficiency, and productivity. So people are still at the center of this. And to have a core strategy is we always need to consider how do we automate technology into workflows so we can mitigate that impact and risk on the business. Now, if we dive deeper and we think about the financial aspect of that, we are seeing that today, the top 500 manufacturers are telling us that they're losing around $1.4 trillion due to inefficiencies. And that's caused by production bottlenecks. And that is doubled in the past 5 years. And the cost of 1 hour of unplanned downtime is really high. And it really it really changes from industry to another. So if we think about an industry like fast consumer goods, the cost for production downtime, cost of 1 hour of unplanned downtime is around $36,000. But if we compare that to what we see in automotive manufacturing, it's around $2.3 million. And it's not just the increase of production cost or the complexities or the interconnectivity. It also has to do as well what are we doing to move away from these traditional approaches to maintenance, to production management, and how we can improve that so we don't have that loss. So let me highlight some of the use cases that we've seen very, 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 very positive impact with customers in the manufacturing and automotive. And these are real life use cases. This is not ideas of what might happen in the future. These are really happening and how we can learn from that and apply it somewhere else. We've seen that customers are able to improve shop floor productivity by utilizing a technician assistant, an AI-powered technician assistant. We're seeing a pharma manufacturer is able to enhance product quality and defect detection, also using Gen AI. And also we're seeing in a health supplement manufacturer is able to reduce personal training time. So I'm going to dive deeper into that. But what I wanted to do is bring it back to what we started before, is how GenAI can help you reduce variation, and it can help you empower employees and operate at speed. What I want you to focus on, and this is really important as a concept, that GenAI is more than a process improvement. It's really a catalyst for breakthrough transformation. And that's important because we're moving away from way things have been done, and we're changing the way we do things. We're moving away from point solutions, and we're going to entire workflows. We're moving away from we're moving institutional knowledge, how our employees know something about the business, to make it a scalable intelligence and scaling it in everything we do. We're also converting data that we have a lot of, that we think about a lot as a burden, to be a strategic asset for the business. So let's look through how GenAI can enable that transformation. So if we think about, we're trying to use GenAI not to replace the human, but to amplify and scale the human talent with AI. And we can do that to help that worker that we have, the employees, our crew, to be able to synthesize more, combine data and information from different locations, siloed location. Once you're in, imagine that you have someone who is on the floor, a manufacturing floor, trying to figure something out, there's a problem. If they want to go out to try to read all these records of what's going on, documentation, it will take them hours. If they're able to use the power of AI to get everything summarized to them, given the right information, they're able to be much more impactful and productive. And AI can be used as well to automating the mundane tasks that we don't want them to do. You know, at Amazon we have a very strong culture of writing. It used to take a lot of my time. Now utilizing GenAI, I can utilize that to speed the process and get that stuff done, and focus most of my brain power to work on strategic and high impact things. And how can we also use GenAI to enhance? How do we enhance with GenAI? It's like a personal assistant, right? You can bounce ideas of it. You can make GenAI do the really grunt work, do the deep dives, do the deep research for you to give you all that information that you need to make the right decisions. And with GenAI, it's very key. It helps you preserve. It's learning from everything you do. It's grabbing that knowledge from those experienced workers, and it's allowing to document that. It's allowing as well to easily pass this through and train other people when needed, and give that knowledge. So what we've seen is with customers that have utilized GenAI, we've seen them able to reduce product development cycles by up to 50%. They're able to discover breakthrough designs by up to 10 times faster, and are also generating recurring revenue through AI-powered features. It's not just what they do in manufacturing, it's how do they interact with their customers as well. So let's take a look at how GenAI is redefining operational excellence, and it's really moving from a reactive operation into a self-optimizing system. If you think about it, if within a production floor, with GenAI you're able to predict and identify potential issues before they even occur. And how does that happen? Because we're able to look at all the real-time data that we have from IoTs and sensors and cameras, then look at data that is historical patterns data that we have, and provide an early warning before a problem happens. So you're being proactive rather than reactive. You're also able with GenAI to diagnose and generate the root cause and have an analysis within minutes. So you're getting all that information that you have from the machines, and then looking at documentation, and you're diagnosing the problem and getting to that in minutes rather than hours. And then you're also able to resolve the problem by giving a step-by-step directions to these to the employees to be able to fix things. And also at the same time, to have someone empowered to do this in this manner is saving a lot of time in training as well, which is really key, because they're able to be trained through institutional knowledge using AI on the job rather than taking month and month and month in training to be able to learn the harder way. And this is what we're seeing that organizations in manufacturing are doing to really address that $1.4 trillion loss in manufacturing. So what we're seeing with manufacturing move from experimentation to real life use cases, and it's at the whole process of manufacturing. So from the maintenance management to the quality management to inventory optimization, and with AI enhanced product as well that are interacting with their own customers. So if we look at maintenance management, I'm going to dive deeper into a specific example with a customer that utilized GenAI to do that. They're able to save millions annually, move training from possibly multi-month or years, and then reduce the mean time for resolution by up to 85%. So the client is a global industrial leader with an annual revenue of $20+ billion and a workforce over 50,000 employees in 300 different locations in 30 countries. And the challenge that they had is their OEE, which is the overall equipment efficiency, was at 50%. Another challenge that they have, attrition is extremely high, like we talked about. And the third challenge that they had is each hour of downtime was costing them around $50,000 in possible revenue. By implementing a virtual operating assistant that is able to speak to their crew in their native languages, whatever it is around the world, and able to interact in natural language query, which is basically speech-to-speech, and they were able to increase their revenue by 13 million, improve onboarding by 30%, and improve downtime by 20%. And we also have another example for quality management, where a customer was able to implement a GenAI application in days rather than in months, improve the production yield, and have better reduction in false negatives by 50%. And this is a pharma manufacturer who used AI to develop synthetic image data for complex defects with limited training data. And if you think about it, if you're on a production line and you're utilizing just humans to utilize their site to see if there's any defects, and the results are going to really change depending on the shifts, the amount of production that's happening. And specifically when we're talking about a drug manufacturer, the stuff that they are producing is very important. This drugs, sometimes it's life-saving and we need them on the shelves. Utilizing AI, they're able to have a 50% improvement in reduction in false rejects, which is false positives, and have these products available for our customers to use. Similar, we have similar use cases for inventory optimization, with customers having 50% in cost reduction, 10% in forecast accuracy. And we see this in the entire value chain as well. So manufacturing customers are able to benefit from AI-enhanced products, where manufacturers are able to reduce customer support times and cost, increase customer satisfaction, and innovate with recurring revenue streams. So as next steps, what I would advise, if you guys have already done that, is to connect with specialists in the field. Connect with specialists in the field that are able to guide you through the process. This is, GenAI has been here for a while, and we have seen different use cases around the world. We have been able to solve them. We will be able to share the knowledge and to share the different use cases that we've worked on. It takes an investment from your time, from the key contacts, from the key people as well. And it's very important to have very measurable outcomes, whether the outcome is to have a POC on top, an MVP, a minimum viable product, at the end of it, a prototype, or a defined plan for that. Well, finally, I'd like to leave you with a interesting story for me. I read a book by David Bales and Ted Orland called Art and Fear. And in that, they have an experiment which is called the clay pot experiment. And the clay pot experiment, what they have is a class for ceramics. And the instructor in that class, what that instructor did is they divided the class in two groups to make an experiment. The first group was the quantity group, and the second group was the quality group. And the goal for the quantity group is to make as many pots as possible, while the goal for the quality group is to make one perfect pot. Now, both of these groups didn't have much experience with ceramics, but surprisingly, the result was the quantity group had the better quality overall, even though the task for the quality group was just to focus on quality. And the reason for that, and when we learn from that, and the key takeaway is quantity breeds quality. Rapid iterations going to give you a better outcome. And that's the same thing with GenAI. It's not a tool on the shelf you're going to say, okay, I used it once, it didn't work. You need to transform the way you think about it. You need to transform, again, to what my colleague Oscar was saying. If you did something in Google and you typed it a certain way, it doesn't mean, and you tried to type it in GenAI prompt and it didn't give you the answer, you need to adjust to that. And it really goes hand in hand to one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Werner Vogels, who's the CTO of Amazon, who's actually, too, a Dubai resident today. He's moved from the UK to live in Dubai and works out of Dubai, the CTO. But his quote that I really like is, there's no, I like the quote, but I can't remember it. Compression algorithm for experience. And again, it talks about needing to experiment and experiment and experiment and to learn. It's not something that you're going to download or put its chip in your brain and you're going to learn things. You need to experiment to be able to have results. And the last thing I'll leave you with is the key takeaway from this is GenAI. It's a strategic imperative for future-ready manufacturing. It's going to empower your workforce. It's going to help scale the human expertise. With AI-driven operations, you're moving from reactive to predictive. And with accelerated innovations, you're able to minimize and shorten the R&D cycles. And you're going to have tangible outcomes, better OEE, reduced downtime, faster onboarding and revenue growth. And it should be the future of manufacturing will be written by those who harness AI today.
Thank you so much, Samer.
If you want to connect with me, here's my LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our respected presenters and attendees, thank you for making this session a success and attending, taking the time. We apologize for the slight change in schedule. I'm afraid we're a bit tight in time for a Q&A session. However, keep an eye on our presenters. I'm sure that they'll be more than happy to take your questions throughout the day. Thank you so much.